If you are a total nerd, this is the place for you to be. Welcome on to John Hollinger. It's still, the season hasn't really started, right? It's not too late to do predictions.
I don't think so. I mean, 26 teams have not yet played a game.
Yeah. Also, there was little that took place last night that would have affected any of my predictions anyway, I would say. So,
I agree.
yeah, we got a lot to get through here. So we can get rolling. First, we got to make some faces, though. All right. We can do at least a little presage here. Christian Braun, 5 years, $125 million. Keegan Murray, 5 years, $140. Nikola Jovic, 4 years, $62. Yeah, for those of you on audio, I basically my first face could be summed up as and my second two is John was a little bit less complimentary of the Keegan Murray one. So yeah, let's start on Keegan Murray because you've been gone for a couple of weeks. We got lots to catch up on here. Sacramento Kings, 5 years, $140 for Keegan Murray. He gets the most of anyone in this class who did not get a maximum extension.
Right. Is he really like any better than these other guys that we're talking about? Like,
yes.
You really think so?
Yeah, absolutely. Because he plays a premium position, right? Like and I think also he's been set up to be kind of lost in Sacramento, but like the guy guards 1 through 4. He has pretty good rim protection numbers for someone who also does that. And, I know he's struggled some with his shooting. He played all last year with an ankle injury, but when he doesn't have his thumb ripped in half, he's going to fight and be out there. Like, it's just so you're talking about $28 million a season for a very solid starting 3. Yeah. And I think someone who could, and also I think he's at age 25 already, like maybe he's not going to get that much better, but you're also wrapping him up through his prime years with a 5-year deal. I think it's going to age pretty well. I know the Kings are the Kings, and like it maybe seems kind of profligate with what some of the other guys got, but yeah, I think like just because at that position, play the 3 or the 4, guard everyone, make shots, like that's the going rate.
Yeah, I don't really think there's much upside built into this deal right now, right? Like as you said, he's a solid starter. The other sort of solid starters in this market got 23 to 25, right? So
yeah, but none 28. Of them are small forwards.
Yeah, Dyson Daniels is 6'8".
But he can't shoot.
Ish, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. A couple execs I talked to were kind of surprised that he got this much. I was too. It might end up being fine, but I just was there really going to be a bidding war over him next summer? I don't know.
I think there's a couple of things. Number one, as soon as you lose a guy like him, you're looking for another one, right? So I had him ranked as the number 20 small forward in the NBA. I probably would move him up a little bit, just with the decline of some of these other guys. This was last March. And yeah, that's just like what the price is, especially going forward with the cap. This isn't going to kick in until next year. Now Danny and I are probably higher on Keegan than a lot of people, just because I think we see more of it. We appreciate his defense a little bit more. We've been locked on in this sad King show, but and yeah, am I a little worried that his shooting has declined? Sure, but he's going to get guarded, right? Like we had him at $30 million a year when we did our show. So now again, maybe he and I are both higher on him, but like his game travels. He fits on any team and any lineup. He could really play anywhere from 2 through 4 if you needed him to. And he guards any of those positions. Like to me, the reason I have him clearly as a better player than Braun or Daniels is because those guys are just kind of, they're small forwards or really more shooting guards, and then also they don't shoot it. And so how many teams that don't have Nikola Jokic can you fit that guy in on and not have to make compromise? There's no compromises with Keegan Murray. That's why I think this is a totally reasonable deal. Well, so okay, look at the guys who got 30 last year, right? Like, I actually, you think Trey Murphy is better than him?
I do. Yeah.
I mean, he's a better offensive player. I don't think he's a better defensive player, right? Like, as you're building your team, like this is if you're building your team, if this is your third or fourth salary, like you're actually okay, right? And like Trey Murphy, yeah, he's a good player, shoots it really well, but he can't be your number one defender on the ball, which Murray has shown to me that he can do. And so, like, he's not elite at that, but he's very solid.
He can do it. Yeah.
I don't know, like, why was it that the Kings were average defenses under Mike Braun? Was it Domantas Sabonis? So
that would probably be Murray's best argument. I don't know.
I mean, okay. So what would you have felt better about then? Are we talking about $3 million a year difference?
Yeah, I actually just had him with this other cohort with the, 25 is like the new 15, right? That's, that's kind of the takeaway from this year. I thought it like, was it ridiculous? No, it wasn't ridiculous. I thought it was high though.
Yeah. I guess that's where we differ, because I just think he's clearly, because of the position that he plays and his shooting ability, I think he's clearly better than Daniels and Braun. And I agree with that. So I'll take the one that I didn't agree with, which was Christian Braun at 5 for 125.
Okay.
And I'm in a different boat with him and Daniels at 4 for 100, pretty much the same contract, except with 1 year difference. To me, Christian Braun is just like, he plays the most replaceable position, and he doesn't do the one thing that you need a shooting guard to do, which is shoot. He takes 3 threes per 36. And even as a starter last year, playing way more with Jokic, that number did not go up at all. And now the one thing that he does add that you don't get a lot from that position is he's able to finish at the basket, and he's a very good transition player. How much of that is Nikola Jokic? And I think, like, Denver really needs him, right? That's the big thing. You hear these things out of Denver. It's like, okay, well, yeah, like, what would they do without him? It's like, well, like, yeah, they really do need him. You're right, because they don't have anyone else to guard the ball. But I think that his skill set is pretty replaceable, right? Would you rather be playing Gary Trent $4 million, or would you rather be paying Christian Braun 25? I think there's a very clear answer to that, and you use the rest of that money to do something else on your team. And then especially throwing in that Denver is just in the tax apron situation that they are in, where they couldn't afford to be profligate. Now they would say, well, yeah, that's exactly why we had to lock him in, so we know we'll be below the second apron next year. But to me, it's just like, yeah, you know what? If he comes out, like, let's say Christian Braun came out and, shot threes like a normal shooting guard, then I think, yeah, right, you would be justified in paying him this. But his game doesn't port to me.
Well, the thing you're right about, they were set up to be beaten by a toxic offer sheet next summer. And I think that was playing on their mind a little bit. A front-loaded offer sheet would have been very difficult for them to match, even if it was for the same total money. Just because of what it would done to their salary structure. Now, what's interesting is Denver made this same decision 2 years ago when they said, we're not going to pay KCP. We're going to go ahead and find a replacement internally. And that's how they came up with Christian Braun in the first place. You're right that they weren't obligated to commit to paying him 22 or whatever it's going to be next year and put themselves into the apron situation, unless they think this is going to be like a tradable contract. I don't know, but can they trade it and take back like nothing, right? Which is, or picks, or I don't know.
Yeah.
They are so locked into this starting, like they literally are just going to have all minimums on the rest of the team next year. Well, and Zeke Naji, sorry.
He'll be traded. He'll be traded for salary cap relief.
You would think, yeah, if they can find a first to actually put in I
They'll be
guess
able to do
they
it.
can do
with
it. They can do it
seconds
on
by
draft
then.
night, right? They owe the 27 pick to the Thunder, so I think they can on draft night. But again, it's going to cost Denver another pick to stay out of this, which, you know,
Yeah. I guess maybe I don't want to say triggered by this, but this is just the third time that they've gone and done one of these extensions that they didn't have to do.
Oh, by rule,
For
Denver
more
must
money than
extend
they need.
everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
that's right in the CBA.
Well, I mean, do you want to make the case for Christian Braun at 25 million a year? Because to me, my walkaway number right now would have been just above the mid level.
I think there's an argument for that. The logic on what Denver did was that they would have been seen as vulnerable in free agency, so somebody probably would have been able to poach him. And so, but I do think teams, when they're dealing with their kind of fourth and fifth best players, are a little too much like, oh no, like what if we lose him? Oh, we're so fucked, you know?
Yeah,
It's
but
no,
why
you're
are
not.
they trying to poach him? Though, like what team wants to drop $30 million a year on Christian Braun when you're rebuilding? And you're going to tie up all your salary cap space for like Christian Braun is going to be our sine qua non for our team. That if they figure out a way to move stuff around and match it, now we're just completely out in the cold in free agency because we prioritize giving Christian Braun a $30 million a year contract. Like, no, he's just not that level of impact player. Like, here's another comp for you: Nickeil Alexander-Walker got the mid level in free agency, right? Like, I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a better player for more teams than Christian Braun is because he shoots it.
Yeah. It's I mean, this was also a dry free agent market. I mean, next year I think is going to be a lot different. There is a lot more money sloshing around, so I do think teams are trying to get ahead of that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, all right. If this is what it was in restricted free agency, fine. But it's just the idea that there's going to be, like, he's just not the kind of player. Like, which of these teams is like, are the Brooklyn Nets going to be like, yeah, let's just like shoot our wad on Christian Braun next year? Like, no, you like Shaedon Sharpe, who we'll talk about. That's the kind of player where like, yeah, let's take a flyer on this guy. And if he works out, he could maybe become a star for us. Like Christian Braun, especially he's older too. Like he doesn't have.
That's the other thing with him and Murray. They're older players, so you're doing the deal more to break even than to like give yourself a chance to hit on some upside.
Yeah, every team needs a Keegan Murray. Not every team needs a Christian Braun. That's sort of where I would end up. What about Daniels in your hometown of Atlanta?
Well, it's by rule, every Australian player must sign for 4 years and $100 million, right? So this just
well, he's the same agent.
The same agent too,
as Josh Giddey too, right?
Yeah. I thought that was a good deal for Atlanta. Daniels, I mean, he's not a strong offensive player right now, but he's still young. Is the key, I think, with him.
Yeah,
he's a couple years younger.
He's 2 years younger than
these
Braun,
other guys we've talked about. He's big. He can play on the ball. There is some chance that it becomes like legitimately useful as like an on-ball player, which obviously would change his valuation. And then the defense is elite. So I thought that was a good deal for Atlanta. The 25 flat on him too. So
is that what it is?
Yeah. So sets themselves up pretty well for the out years.
No, that's good to know, actually. And yeah, they did the same with Jalen Johnson as well. So, I mean, a couple of reasons. I mean, I think Daniels is more of an impact defender, probably a little worse shooter right now than Christian Braun. And because Braun at least makes the limited ones that he takes, which Daniels doesn't. Both of them are taking over 75% of their threes as just wide open shots last year. But Daniels does have the ball handling ability, and he's a small forward, as you said. Like he can guard small forwards. He has that level of size. He could, as he fills out, he might even be able to guard some power forwards as well. And he can maybe do a little backup point guard. Like he's a natural passer. He's got this little floater game. So I'm not loving him as an offensive player, but like you said, I think that you could see more evolution there. But the biggest thing is the Hawks, are not like hard up against the second apron with Nikola Jokic in their prime, and in a situation where paying him $2 or $3 million more a year, although I'd say the Nuggets paid Braun, $5-6 million more a year than they needed to, which is based, that could be a player next year, right? That could be the tax bill. Oh, that could be Dario Saric for them. Sorry. So yeah, and I do think this was, and maybe you could have found a way where Daniels is playing backup point guard. He's showing a lot more. He shoots it better. Like I could see him getting a $30 million a year offer sheet in restricted free agency in a way that I couldn't with Braun. I still think Daniels is one of the most overrated players in basketball right now, and I don't think he's going to average 3 steals a game again, but you could at least construct a scenario. I just couldn't see what they're scared of with Braun.
Yeah.
Any of these other ones that were of interest to you?
Portland?
Portland guys, right?
Yeah. Sharpe, I didn't have as high a per year valuation on him for where he is right now, but I can sort of get why Portland did that and tried to lock him up. I think he's going to put up a lot of counting stats this year because there's just not a lot of offense there. And then with his age and kind of physical profile, as you said, he's the type of guy that other teams will be like, okay, let's take a shot on him and try to make Portland match a sheet. So I get that one. Toumani Camara's deal, I did not like that.
I knew you were going to say it because it's Andrew Nembhard all over again, right?
All over again, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you and I disagree on this. Let's finish up on Sharpe first before we get to Toumani Camara. So Sharpe to me, obviously, I've been way higher than a lot of people. I famously had him as my number 1 pick in the 22 draft, and a few things you can talk about with him. One is, well, this kind of scoring guard, like the league's been down on them. Those guys haven't really been able to get paid. Colin Sexton got traded for nothing. But Sharpe, he's like a real shooting guard and really almost small forward size. And he's not a great defender yet. I don't know mentality-wise if he's ever going to be. But he at least is someone that you put him in an isolation and you're not just like, it's not a 5-alarm fire for your defense, which makes a big difference. And then he's having a great camp, really shooting the ball well, to the point where they're going to rip the Band-Aid off and start him and not Jeremy Grant, it looks like. I'm sure that was a big,
I think
big thing
we're
for
right
them to get through.
Yeah, well, I mean, based on media day, it kind of was. I'm interested to see if he comes off the bench once Scoot comes back.
Yeah, I mean that we'll see if Scoot plays well enough, right? I mean, I guess Drew Holiday is going to be the point guard. Abdiel will play some point too.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean, that's not great, but yeah. So like, there's a scenario, and Dan and I talked about this. We couldn't come to an agreement. This is basically right in the range that we were at, where like you could get max offer sheets next year if he plays well enough. Like that's, is that a 5% outcome? Yeah, but it's also like that would totally blow up their salary structure. To me, like you've built your franchise around this guy, locking him in for just over $20 million a season for the next 4 years is a pretty nice win. If he even just becomes a starter, like to me, he's already a mid-level exception type of player. So the downside risk is he never gets any better, and we're paying him $7 million extra. The upside risk is we get like $15 or $20 million of surplus value per season on this guy.
Yeah, Portland did not front load that deal, which surprised me, given they have a lot of money below the tax line next season.
Well, actually, you know what? If I were Sharpe's representation, I would have refused to do
that. Because it's harder to extend on the end of it.
Yeah. Or I might have required a pretty penny to do that.
Right. Okay, look, we'll give you a little more, just front load it. Like, come on. Yeah.
And then Camara, to take everyone through what his situation was and why you were.
So the deal was reported as 4 years, $82 million. It was actually $81 million. So I don't know how it got reported as 82, but
I have an idea.
Did it include the trade kicker? It was
the Kuminga one. That was amazing.
But he had a year. It's next season, right? 26-27. Where he was
they had a team option
for just $2.5 million, and they converted that to paying him 18 and change instead. So there's a bag of 15 million up front that you're giving him. The new money on the deal was 3 years added to the deal and 78 million in new money. So it's valuing him 26 million a year, basically, which is a little higher than most of these guys got. Camara is a really good defensive player. He's 25. He's pretty limited offensively. I just didn't see where Portland, by giving up that 2 million deal year on the first year, I didn't see what they got in return for that. Like I felt like the money on the back end years needed to be lower to really justify that, especially because they had some opportunities to do some stuff based on those dollar values. Now they could have been they're not going to be a cap room team next year because of the Sharpe extension. So that was out. But the year after that, they had a chance to renegotiate and extend Deni Avdija up from 11 million, which is like laughable right now, his contract, before he hits unrestricted free agency. And these two extensions probably take that out of play. So I thought that was a part of that too. Like Camara would have had a very low cap hold. It would have been like 2 million, right? Maybe 3 if the minimum was up to that by then. And so I thought they foreclosed on that opportunity and some other opportunities between now and then, to kind of see how their team evolves before they go ahead and pay everybody. There's 2 years left on his deal, so they could have waited till next year to do something.
I don't believe they could have, personally. I mean, so just to take everyone through the full situation, right? So he's now going into his third year, making the minimum. He's a second round pick. After his third year, you can decline that team option and make him a restricted free agent.
Right.
If you don't do that and you keep him on the minimum for now the fourth year, after that fourth year, we saw with Jalen Brunson, he is not a restricted free agent. So what John's talking about there, what you're talking about, is taking it all the way to the end of that fourth year and then having him be a unrestricted free agent. They would have full bird rights on him.
Yeah.
But and with the idea of maybe renegotiating, extending Avdija, and then also paying him. But to me, you get a lot here as Portland, because I think he's a $30 million a year player. I think he would be a $30 million a year player at the end of that, particularly. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, he's shooting it better this preseason. Like, he's a totally adequate shooter, and he's one of the top 5. Like, I think he's way better defensively than Daniels even. And I think he plays a bigger position, and he shoots it better than, I think he's a better player than Daniels. I would have him kind of in the Murray conversation, where maybe not as good of a shooter, but definitely a better defensive player. Because not only is he great on the ball, but he's a great help defender too.
I thought he should have been first team all defense last year, so I'm a big fan on that end. But offensively, like the limitations on this kind of player, and like historically, guys like this don't get paid. So, I mean,
well, I think
I went through multiple
beyond.
cycles.
Yeah.
I went through multiple cycles of this with Tony Allen. Like
but he's so much better offensively than Tony Allen, and honestly, I think he's bigger than Tony Allen too.
Oh, he's big. I mean, Tony Allen was 6'4", but I mean, Tony Allen could dribble. Like, he could.
Could he?
Do. It was
like Tony Allen.
I'm sorry, he could get places off the dribble. Okay,
yeah.
Even though he was dribbling this high. Okay.
Well, also, I think the league is valuing defense on the perimeter more than it has previously. But also, like, Tony Allen was a guy who would just fuck your offense. Like, we saw it in that series against Golden State, where they just guarded him with the center. Like, Camara is not that kind of player, and I think he's just getting a lot better. But here's what I think is also is being missed here is, right now, he's artificially limited in what he can get. And like you noted, next year, they're not really going to be a cap space team, but they also are like not really that close to the tax next year. So paying him, there's not much opportunity cost in paying him $18 million next year. Like, there wasn't anything else they're really going to be able to do. And there is going to be opportunity cost in the later years. So why not pay him more now, especially when he's artificially constrained in what he can make later. Like they actually did get a $6 million haircut. Like for me, when we did
Oh,
the
off of
negotiation,
his max, you mean?
yeah, off of the max they could pay him right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And I
there's
thought that
been.
was
I think
actually good consideration.
this is the year of teams celebrating way too much that they didn't give the guy the absolute maximum. Shout out Mikal Bridges.
Well, to me though, like that's the benefit is, hey, we can offer you the max right now, and you're going to be making $20 million a year. Whereas if you even let him get to restricted free agency next year, then I'm saying no, I want $30 million a year, and I think that would be something that he would deserve. And so, again, maybe you and I disagree on what his upside scenario was, but I think they did well because when I was negotiating it, I was like, yeah, you need to give me literally everything that you possibly can, and I'll be nice and not demand a player option. That was my thought, because he's just that good of a player who, again, is going to be that in demand. But I thought it was a great day for Portland. I loved both of those extensions.
Okay.
I thought
another one that was not front loaded, by the way.
Yeah.
This one could not have been front loaded as much because they could only go up
Yeah.
to 19 and change at the beginning, but they could have, they didn't front load it at all.
Yeah. Again, maybe not something that he was interested in doing with the possible extension. So yeah, any other ones? Is that all the ones that got done? Are we missing any? It was Aaron Nesmith.
Yeah,
which was
that was a nice piece of business. They only they could have gone 3 years 60, and they went 2 years 40, which I thought was smart by Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, where does Nesmith fit in vis-a-vis some of these other perimeter defenders we've been talking about to you?
Well, I think he's proven he can do it in the playoffs. And then 2, he's an absolute money shooter, right?
Right.
Biggest thing with him is just that he's going to miss 25 games every year. But when he's out
and
there,
then half of every other game because he's in foul trouble.
Yes. But you talk about guys, filling these roles that we've talked about on elite teams. I mean, and he's shown, in deep playoff series that he can do this. Whereas for these other guys, we're projecting a little because we really have. I mean, Brown, I guess we've seen it, but some of these other guys, we haven't really seen him do it in like meaningful games.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Aaron Nesmith is way better than Christian Braun, because of his. I mean, seeing what he did in that Knicks comeback, like that's obviously he's not going to do that every night, but to have the ability to do that as a shooter and make people pay it is important. So yeah, I thought that was a good deal for Indiana, even considering that he's injury prone, is a good chance for him to get paid. How about some of the
Yes. Yeah. Indiana, for instance, did not do Benedict Mathurin, which I think is like similar to the Kuminga situation where they kind of want to see first, like these guys that got done, other than Jovic, they were already starters on their teams. So I think it was a little easier for their teams to kind of know what they were valuing and what they had. And then once you get like 10% more speculative than that, it's a little harder when you start dealing with the guys, Mathurin, Shaedon Ivey, guys like that. Tari Eason, gets a little trickier to get those to the finish line, I think. The other one that surprised me that didn't get done was Jalen Duren. And I think that's a cap room play for Detroit, that they would rather have the hold because they do have some cap space possibilities. But
yeah, his hold is $19 million for next year. And if you take off Ivey, I mean, they don't have a ton. Let's take off Duncan Robinson too. Yeah, okay, they could get to like 25 million. Yeah, I mean that's probably realistically where it's at. It would be 25 million. So that's something that's above the mid level. That maybe they can bring in a quality starter at shooting guard, or also just make an unbalanced trade or something like that too.
Yeah, or get a forward to replace Tobias Harris, right? Because his
I guess that's a good point too. I mean, they desperately need some shooting. Obviously, the Malik Beasley situation put their plan into difficulty for this year. I mean, there's also discussion. So basically, yeah. Now, to me, Jalen Duren on a extension that started at $19 million a year, his cap hold actually would be realistic. There are reports.
I had a 25 million valuation on him. Yeah.
Well, all right. But even then, 25 million a year. Well, so you're saying 25 starting at 25 or 25 million a year?
I guess I was doing average value of 25 like these other guys.
So that would have been, starting at like 22 or something, right?
Yeah.
So if they did the max raise, that actually wouldn't have cost them that much cap space. But it sounded like, there are some reports, again, you never know exactly what to make of. They were looking for north of 30.
Right.
So tell me why you even have a $25 million a year valuation.
Oh, I think he's good. Yeah. Like he's young. He can rim run. He blocks shots. He's a pretty good passer. Like, I think there's a lot there. I think he's their long-term starter at the position to me, like easy.
Yeah. But it's also a replaceable skill set. And I think he looking for over 30. It's like, I don't want to call it insane, but it's one of those things where, hey, look at the comps. Look at all these terrible, terrible contracts as the comps. I'm better than those guys, right? And it's like, well, okay, so they should also give you a terrible contract, like, because the Raptors decided to pay Jakob Poeltl and the Nets decided to pay Nick Claxton. Like, no, I'm sorry. I like, again, like you just like if you're the Pistons, you can't build your team with a limited rim running center, no matter how good he is, as your probably second highest salary going forward. Like, that's not it. And maybe you could if he shot it, because then that enables you to build your team with more of like a Sar Thompson and Ron Holland, and but like, again, he's just a solid player. But I think you're just, all right, let's see what kind of year you have this year. Like, are you? It's hard to imagine him getting an offer sheet at the number that he was seeking, if that indeed was the case. Again, it's probably the real number he would have taken was a little bit lower, but yeah, totally fine waiting on that, especially because there's going to be two other restricted free agent centers out there as well, Walker Kessler and Mark Williams.
Yeah. Both of whom did not get done. Kessler was the more obvious cap play from Utah's perspective. And then Williams, I think, just with the injury questions and not being able to do incentives as a practical matter anymore. Like in the old days, he might have had 15% of the contract would be, he only gets it if he plays 60 games. But nobody wants incentives and deals anymore because of the aprons. So that's kind of out the window.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. All right. Anything else on extension or non-extensions, or should we talk about some infallible predictions for what's going to happen?
Let's talk about our obviously correct and destined to be perfectly accurate predictions, even if they oppose each other.
Let's we can just go through it here. Who are your conference finalists and NBA champion this season?
Eastern Conference Finals. You know what's weird? I didn't actually predict conference finalists per se. But I had the two best records in the East as Cleveland and Orlando, and I have Cleveland winning the East. I'm not committed to Orlando as a conference finalist because I didn't really project out like, well, there's going to be an upset where the 6 beats the 3. I didn't.
No, yeah, I don't do that either. I just do it as who do I think are the two best playoff teams in the conference? That's who I pick.
I don't know that Orlando is the second best playoff team in the conference. I think by April the Knicks might be, but I think the Knicks are going to do some experimenting to try to get there, and so that they will end up with fewer wins.
Yeah, I did my 52 win prediction for New York before we found out for sure that Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson will both be missing the start of the regular season with nebulous injuries, and before Carlton said that he doesn't really know his role in the offense.
He's like all of a sudden questionable for tomorrow, by the way. Or for tonight, I mean.
Yeah, he's dealing with some sort of a quad thing. It's always silly season with the injuries right now because it's just, maybe he just felt like a slight tweak and it's like it's not worth risking it in the last preseason game. Or it could be they're going to say he's questionable in the first game just to fuck with the other team, and then he's out for 3 weeks after that. You just have no idea.
Yeah.
But I think Orlando will be the second best playoff team in the East. I do like what Mike Brown is trying to do, but I think Franz and Powell are going to take a step forward. I love the fit of Bane. Very encouraged that Jalen Suggs is actually going to be ready to start the season, even though he'll clearly be managed quite a bit. So I think these guys will be, if not number 2, top 5 in defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the year the streak is going to end, John. Perhaps the most ignominious streak in basketball right now, not being a top 10, being a bottom 10 offense since Dwight Howard left. I believe that streak will end this year for the Orlando Magic.
That really is an unbelievable streak.
I think the Kings had been a bottom 10 defense like every year since Rick Adelman left until Mike Brown came in.
You knew once we went down this road that the Kings were going to come up at some point.
Yeah, for horrible streak. So, yeah, I do have Cleveland beating Orlando. I think as long as Cleveland is healthy, they are just like, they were a great team last year. They don't have to play the Pacers. They're not going to have to play Boston.
Yep.
They totally handled the Knicks in the regular season last year. And yeah, if they can just get their guys healthy by playoff time, which admittedly is a question mark, but they at least they have health guys, but they have a lot of health guys. So maybe some of them can be healthy enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just thought like their system was so good last year. And then they disappointed because of injuries. And people are like, oh yeah, they're weak mentally and all that. It's like, yeah, but like, their all NBA point guard couldn't walk. Like Evan Mobley missed a game and like he was limited and like, so, and also they don't have to play anybody that good.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Yeah, that's the other thing. I think they're a heavier favorite in the East than maybe people have conditioned themselves to think. Especially, I mean, they won it by so many games last year. Their second line guys are good. Like I kind of like Jalen Tyson and Tyrese Proctor, and like those guys are going to be fine to get them through the regular season when their other players inevitably miss games, which a lot of their top guys are going to. But then in the playoffs, yeah, they need their main guys to be on the court by then.
Yeah, and certainly if Darius Garland can't be healthy in the playoffs again this year, like I was talking about this with Chris Fedor of like, has Darius Garland ever had one good playoff game? You would have to be concerned. So who do you have going to the finals then?
Cleveland.
Okay, me too. West,
I have Oklahoma City. Clearly number 1, right? Advance to the finals. Conference finals, I have the Clippers with the second best record in the regular season.
Yeah, I had 3 teams with 52, Denver, Clippers, and Houston, and then Golden State with 50.
Okay.
As my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Golden State though. Like this, I think outside of Oklahoma City, it's just going to be so about matchups and obviously health too. But like I actually don't really like Golden State's matchup against the Clippers because they just have like too much rim protection. That is the thing that really foils Golden State to me. But I think Golden State going up against Houston, it could look better, right? I actually think Golden State could punch above their weight against OKC, even though I wouldn't pick them to beat them. So I reluctantly went with Golden State as my conference finalists. And I think there's a possibility that Golden State could actually win a championship this year. But obviously that OKC monster is pretty difficult. And obviously Denver too. Like Golden State and Denver were the 2 that I thought had the best chance of making it to the West Final.
I think those are the two highest playoff ceilings, I would say.
Yeah.
Right now. Now, obviously, in-season moves can change that too. I mean, Golden State is one of the teams with the flexibility to do some stuff. Will the Lakers do anything? That could maybe change something. So I think that rest of the West is just super interesting and at every level of the playoff rounds. But it's Oklahoma City's party, right? Like without a doubt.
So this is something I thought was interesting. I don't know if you've specifically done this, but my list of championship contenders, right? If you want to do the Daryl Morey, 5% equity rule. Here's my list. You tell me if there's anyone you would add to this or anyone you would take off.
Okay.
Cleveland,
Yes.
Orlando in the East. I toyed with putting the Knicks there, and I was like, no, I just don't think so. I think they're the injuries, the Brown or sorry, Towns and Brunson Browns, they are just like not good enough defensively to really build like a championship level defense.
They're like not quite 5%ers, right? They're like 2.5%ers.
But,
Yeah,
I mean, you
think
can
that's right.
construct a scenario where they make it to the final. So I'm like, should I be including them? But maybe not. Maybe 5% is the wrong thing. But just where you look at it as, like on paper, I could see it with these guys being good enough on both sides of the ball. OKC, obviously, Denver, Houston, Golden State. I did not include the Clippers or Minnesota out of the West.
I would agree with you not including Minnesota. I think they have a very high floor, but when you talk about championship odds, it's more about ceiling. Clippers, I think you're probably right. They're much better built for the regular season. Like they're super deep. They have a lot of quality, but then you get to the postseason, it's James Harden. I think Kawhi. I think we saw some of his limitations now at the highest levels, where he couldn't dominate that Denver series the way he would have a couple of years ago. So
they don't have a good enough best player.
Yeah. So I would definitely put the Nuggets in that 5% group. I just like their starting five is just so damn good. You know, if they're in a series where they get 200 minutes a night from those guys, then it almost doesn't matter that the other 40 minutes are crap. So definitely them. Golden State is probably right on the borderline for me. Rockets for me are a pretty clear no.
A pretty clear no. Okay.
Yeah, like I mean, I had them 7th, I want to say. I just think without Van Vliet, without any real guards, like I just think it's going to be too hard. Their biggest,
I think Şengün looks really good. I think Şengün is going to make up for the loss of Van Vliet.
Well, if he shoots like Steph Curry from 3 every night, sure.
No, but also like this stuff that he's doing off the, like he's finishing again really well at the basket. I think actually like having Steven Adams on the floor just really opens things up for him exceedingly well, because with Adams out there, now you have to put your center on Adams, but Adams like is just this black hole. You can't like help off of Adams because he's just going to wedge his way in for an offensive rebound. And so now Şengün is just going to bludgeon whoever the 4 is. Like Oklahoma City, they had to put Alex Caruso on him because they just like their bigs had to guard other people and they couldn't guard Şengün. So I think, yeah, they're going to have some growing pains here for sure. And I do have some issues with Ime Udoka's creativity on offense. I thought it looked much better for them when they went simple last night. But, and if Şengün could just, make 35% of his threes, that would, like he shot it like someone who might be able to do that this year. And they can also make a move as well for a shooter, or I think
that's
a shooter more than
that's their biggest wild card. Those Phoenix picks, like they could do something big in season, and Golden State has some of that too. And that I think is their biggest. If you're trying to tell a story of how they could win a championship, either Golden State or Houston, I think in-season moves play a big part for both of them.
Yeah, and for Golden State, yeah, you know what? Like their old guys could get hurt or fall off at any time, but I mean, from what I've seen in preseason and last night, like Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, despite their age, are looking like they can play at an all NBA level at their best. And so if that's the case, like, yeah, you can't count those guys out. Let me throw a couple other predictions out here for you. See what you think. Both Indiana and Boston will miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I wrote that for my fearless predictions. Yeah, I'm on board.
Well, so yeah, give me some of yours. I haven't read yours yet. What are they?
I said that Cooper Flagg would not only win Rookie of the Year, but would do so unanimously. How about this one? No Americans on first team All NBA.
No Americans on first team All NBA. So yeah, this would transition us into MVP here too. Yes, I do not have my top. I have Nikola Jokic, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Victor, Luka, and Giannis as my top 5 in MVP. So yeah, seems that way. I mean,
I had those
who's
as
the
my
best
top
healthy
5.
American player this year?
Ant.
Probably.
Somebody with Anthony in their name.
I'm gonna say there will be one, just because all of those 5 guys being healthy is like, those would be my 5 picks, but just then the next group probably has some guys who could get in there as well. So I don't know if the odds of all 5 of those guys qualifying this year and
That's
being good enough are low. But I agree. I mean, I wouldn't pick them any American as the top 5 player in basketball. That's sure.
yeah. That's the biggest hurdle, especially with Tatum and Halliburton both being out this year. It's going to be hard for an American to crack that top 5, but can all 5 of these guys? Wemby's probably the biggest one you worry about. Get to 65 games.
When you predict the MVP, are you doing it of like who you think you would want to vote for, or you're just predicting who our esteemed colleagues will exalt?
I do the latter, although I did not make an MVP prediction ahead of this year. I really think it could be any of the 5 guys. Like,
Yeah,
it wouldn't shock me if Luka or Victor won it this year. Even though I
No.
think Shea and Joker have to be co-favorites entering the year.
yeah.
But
And
I think
Shea is just a monster. Like what he did last night. It obviously it's been like he was Finals MVP and MVP last year. Like, this is not breaking news, but just the way it's like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter if Amen Thompson is guarding me. I'm gonna just like get a great shot at the end of the game. Like there's just, how many guys could do that against Amen Thompson in the league? Like 0 other than him.
Yeah. So I think, probably more than half the MVP equity is with those 2 guys, Joker and Shea, and then a lot of the rest of it is with Luka and Victor, and then maybe a little bit left over for Giannis, and then I don't know who's even after that. Like,
Yeah.
if Anthony Davis has a great year, maybe, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Edwards and Curry, if you want to talk about the 2 Americans, right? I mean, like, some of the projection models have Golden State, and I think if Golden State is like unbelievable, there would be a kind of a career appreciation. Let's get Steph this award. I probably wouldn't agree with it. I picked Jokic as the guy that I will think should win it, and I also picked him as the guy I think will win it, because I think he's just going to be awesome this year. And
when I did my 10 best players in the league for this season, Jokic was number 1. So I guess I would be leaning that way for MVP.
Yeah, I think it definitely. I don't agree with these people who say Jokic is unequivocally the best player in the world. I mean, we had that great conversation last year on the top 10 players about that you might be able to just build a higher end team with Shea because of his defense relative to where Jokic is just, you're never going to have a top 5 defense with Jokic.
Yeah.
But, all right, this is the one, we're going to skip right past coach of the year and go to first coach to be fired this year.
Nick Nurse.
Woo! Not on my list.
Really? Okay.
I like to, but if he gets fired, isn't it because just there are more injuries again and there's no expectations?
Yeah. I mean, if they're just like, if they're bad again, yeah. Like, however it ends up, like.
But so what are they going to do then instead?
Just.
It seems like a postseason firing. Like, that seems like one of those ones where, yeah, you know what, Joel is just he's done, and Paul George is done, and we're just moving into a new era, and everyone agrees to part ways, and he goes somewhere else. Him getting fired seems, I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. I should have considered that more. I'm not dismissing it. I just I'm wrapping my head around it now.
Okay, I'm interested to hear the top names on your list.
The top 2 for me would be Willie Green and Doug Christie.
Yeah. Those are definitely 2 names to consider. Willie Green is like weirdly protected in New Orleans right now. So
Yeah,
I,
I
I
agree with you, but
I don't know how vulnerable he is to a slow start. And then Doug Christie, obviously by virtue of being a former King, will get every chance to fail.
yeah, I don't know where he's at in terms of his contract. They did bring in the esteemed Mike Woodson behind him, but yeah, Chris, like I think just there are still expectations in Sacramento. They, as much as they're trying to like bring Doug along and all these stories coming out of Sacramento, like he still was not the guy that Scott Perry wanted. So
Mhm.
I think that's, and I think they're going to be terrible this year. So and their defense is going to be really bad.
Yeah.
Threw a few other names out here for you.
Okay.
Brian Keefe.
No, I don't see that one happening.
I mean, I guess are they going to be like, oh well, this is great that we're losing all these games again because they got this top 8 protected pick. I
Yeah.
don't think any coach could get them out of the bottom 5 record.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they have all this cap space next year too. I think that might be part of it. Is just if it's a complete clown show, like I can't tell you anything. All right, so like Brian Keefe was the Jordan Poole whisperer. That's probably like the best thing I could say for his coaching tenure. Quinn Snyder, if things go poorly in Atlanta, their team has some expectations this year.
There's some expectations, but he has a lot of juice right now.
Okay. Because they just haven't he hasn't gotten an extension since he started. So I think he's going into the 4th year of a 5-year deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be surprised by that one.
Yeah, I mean, you know better than me on that. I'm more just looking at the outside situation.
Sure.
Thomas Isolo?
That would be probably pretty rash, right? Maybe,
I mean, I think so.
Maybe the last week of the season.
Yeah. Give it like the day after Taylor Jenkins got fired last year. Give him like a year and a day.
Yeah, right. Give him the gold watch for the 1-year anniversary. Like, hey, by the way, another name that I thought you might mention, Darko Rajakovic in Toronto.
Yeah, Darko Rajakovic. He was on my list too. Yeah,
if they get off to a slow start, yeah,
they have expectations there as well. But I would say if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Doug Christie. There's nobody who I'm like, oh man, this guy's seat is boiling hot right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a relatively stable year on the coaching front, just because a lot of those positions have changed relatively recently.
All right, any of these other awards that are interesting for you to talk about, or any other predictions?
So I made a prediction for 6th man award that I think is already going to be wrong. Which is, I said Shaedon Sharpe would be the first player to win 6th man on a losing team since 1992, but I think he's going to end up starting too much.
Yeah, that's the things where things always go wrong. I had Ty Jerome, and now he's not going to qualify because he's out for. Those the 65 game rule does not apply to 6 man. I think it doesn't anyway. But if he misses a month, it's probably not going to happen with this cap issue.
Yeah.
I usually see 6 man a lot differently because I actually believe that you can be a good player without scoring a bunch of points.
Yeah. Like Onyeka Okongwu 6th man award. Like, yes, but that's not going to be a thing.
Are the Celtics not starting Anthony Simons? They're going to start Peyton Pritchard, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's one that sticks out to me, especially when Simons gets traded somewhere else.
Yeah. 2 teams 6th man award. Yeah. Oh, here's one. Most improved player.
Yeah, sure.
Cam Whitmore.
That's a good one. To me, I was actually surprised. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised because there was a lot of hype around him, but Dyson Daniels had the worst season, I would say, of anyone to win the award in the last, since like the Isaac Austin most improved days.
Usually it's a higher level player, like somebody who's more
that it's a guy. Level. Yeah, it's a guy who is getting at least into the All-Star conversation,
right?
And I think it should be that.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere where it's like, oh yeah, this guy really did something that we didn't see coming. So that's that's why I mean my pick actually I like the high level guys in this. My pick is actually Victor Wembanyama.
Huh. Okay. Okay. I could see that.
Number 2 is Paolo Banchero.
Yeah. I mean, certainly has some percentages that could show improvement. Asar Thompson do anything for you there?
Possibly. Although again, I don't see him getting into the all-star conversation. I mean, Amen has got to be on that list too.
See, to me, Amen was the guy for last year, but
yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, because if he's going to be actually having the ball and playing point guard and like scoring in crunch time, but you know, there's still Şengün and KD as mouths to feed on that team too. Let's see here.
Oh, I had a coach of the year pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This one is probably like the least interesting one to me actually to predict. But,
I'm puffing my chest out because I got it right last year because I said Kenny Atkinson would win.
Nice.
And it was all just which team is the most undervalued in prediction markets. So I'm going to go that route again and say Ty Lue with the Clippers.
Yeah, that could be a little bit of like a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Now, I guess, yeah, you and I do it differently, right? Like to me, who am I going to pick at the end of the year is the way I'm trying to do it because I like coach of the year to me is which coach added the most regular season value. And so Mark Daigneault and Kenny Atkinson, like, I'm sorry, are they just going to be bad coaches again this year? Or we're just used to them now?
Yeah.
Because like, does their contribution to their teams winning 60 games go away just because they did it last year?
That seems to be how it works because literally nobody has won back to back.
Yeah, like Phil Jackson. Oh, your team dropped from 72 to 69 wins. Sorry,
Yeah.
we're not
Sorry,
going to give it to you this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jamal Mosley is up there too as a possibility there for me. Outside of those are my three, but I like it's part of why I find it annoying is just like I already kind of know who the good coaches are, and like there might be a team that's a big surprise, but it's rare that will match up with who I think actually the best coach is, and it's just ridiculous, right? Like if you go back and look at the Coach of the Year award winners. You're littered with, Byron Scotts and Sam Mitchells and like, it's just,
Mike Schuler. Yeah.
So like, why is Coach of the Year not treated like MVP?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's Mike Schuler? Who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
This is. I think this is the first on the show. I think this is the first time you've ever stumped me with a name. Oh, man, you're so old. Who is okay? Let me just guess the year that Mike Schuler was. That's the 1970s.
No.
It definitely is not. If it was the 90s, I would know who it was. So it was the 80s. So I have no idea who this person is or what team they coached. Was he the coach of the Kansas City Kings in like 1981?
No. You have the correct conference.
All right. I can't have it anymore. Just tell me who it is, for God's sake.
1987 Portland Trailblazers went 49-33 and lost in 4 games in the first round.
Yeah, that was really probably the last year that I wasn't paying attention to the NBA as a 7-year-old. 8 years old, I was locked in.
All right.
Okay, anything else we should talk about here? We didn't do Defensive Player of the Year. I assume that's Victor for you.
Yes. There has never been a unanimous winner for that award. So that's one that I there's just too many opinions on defensive player, so I think it'll never happen. But that's one that I would at least track. Like how close to unanimous could he get if he stays healthy all year?
Okay, let's finish up on these ones then.
Okay.
Executive of the Year. Did you do this at all?
I did not.
I could throw a couple out there for you. You can react to.
I would say Onzi Soleil in Atlanta has to get some consideration, especially if the Pelicans are bad.
Well, he's my executive of the year, and Joe Dumars / Troy Weaver can
You're
share
not executive of the year. Yeah, 100%.
And Jeff Weltman and Rafael Stone were the other two that I had.
Okay.
Stone, I mean, just the KD trade, pretty good, I think. That's again, you're lower on Houston than I am. I think they're gonna just knock so many heads this season.
I'm really interested to see how it works, over a period of games. Is there going to be enough shooting, enough ball handling? Are people going to figure out a little more how to deal with these huge lineups? Are they just going to have like 50% offensive rebound rates? Like, how is this actually going to play out?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I just love where the game is at right now. Like, all these people who are like, oh yeah, it's all the same, just pulling a bunch of threes. Like, no, you're not using your brain when you think about that. Of just all, like, if you look at the stars and how many different stars play different styles, and Houston is playing zone and starting two bigs and 40% offensive rebounds, and you see the way the Pacers played last year. It just, like, Steph Curry is still in the league. You have like still the heliocentric guys like Doncic. Like, there's Giannis is, no one really plays like him. You've got bigs handling the ball more than ever. Like, there are just so many different interesting ways to score. There's more transition than there's ever been. It's really, I'm just loving the state of like the actual basketball on the floor right now.
I agree.
All right, well, that's a good thing to end on. Yeah, positive note for once here.
All right,
Hollinger and Duncan podcast. I do want to tell everyone though, for if you want to hear every Hollinger and Duncan, you can sign up for Dunk Down Prime. We're going to be running this code a couple more days. Preseason 25 is the code, and get 35% off a year membership, which is already highly discounted off of the monthly rate as well. So please sign up for that. You get every single podcast of myself and Danny LaRue as well. We had a 64-minute extravaganza last night discussing that Houston OKC double OT classic. So if you are a total nerd, this is the place for you to be with Dunk Down Prime. Talk to y'all next time.